back. Happy week 6, everybody. We get our discussion post about printmaking. How did you find printmaking to be different from other art forms we've studied so far? What similarities did you notice, and what questions came up for you about printmaking? So I'm actually familiar with printmaking a little bit, and I'll get into that too when I get more into about which artist I can relate to with it. So printmaking, the way it's different is you're making multiple pieces off of the print versus just the artist sitting down and doing, obviously one painting and it's done. But at the same time, it takes a lot of work to get that, even with the etching, make sure everything is just right and perfect. You just don't want to slap something together and send it on out there. And then even when you're making sure the lines are correct, when you're doing like the blocked letters and all that stuff and making your prints, you want to make sure that all that is, uniformed and it looks good, and yeah, it's a decent print. And I've seen too where some prints sell where they can tell that they're earlier versions of the prints, judging by the lines, and the later ones, the lines have kind of faded away, or they're just from being pressed so much that they're not as distinct as they used to be. So that definitely affects the value of those, I've noticed, and like the first pressings are always worth more. I didn't really have any questions, as I'm familiar with it a lot about the printmaking, but so what artist did you relate to the most, and why was that? So for me, it wasn't an artist we covered, but I like the Hatch show prints, which comes from the hatching. And William T. Hatch, he has a store, or had a store in Nashville from the 1920s, and then it was taken over by his sons. But he created the concert show Hatch prints, which if there was a concert, you'd have, I'll put a couple of them below here, but if you had a concert going on or whatever, you'd have a Hatch show print made, and it kind of talks about the acts and everything else. And they were just really neatly done, and it was all done with the letters where you'd set them down and then they'd run it over, and then they did different designs and colors, and they're just really neat. I have a couple of them in my home office at home. I have a Johnny Cash one and a Hank Williams Sr. one, and I've always really liked, I don't know, I just like the looks of them. And William T. Hatch was the one that started doing the show prints, and I've kind of looked at more of the ones he's done, and you can tell that there's a lot of work that went into those with the colors and everything to make them look the way they do. The shop is still in Nashville now, and I think, is it Jim Sheridan runs it now, I believe, but he's related to the Hatch family for that. But yeah, that was just kind of mine. It wasn't an artist we covered, but it was an artist that kind of related to this, so I wanted to share that with everybody. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a good week 6, and I look forward to seeing your posts. Thanks, bye.